Hello, I'm Scott Bledsoe, and I want to talk about the importance of client feedback in the therapy process. Now, in our consumer-driven society, feedback is vital. Seems like we're always being prompted to evaluate the products we buy, hit the like button, and submit reviews based on our experiences. But how does this work in counseling settings? What if the product is psychotherapy? And how can therapists best obtain feedback from clients about what's working and what's not working in counseling? Today, we'll look at a section of solution-focused brief therapy to help explore this issue more fully. And as you'll see, it's not about just asking questions, it's about asking the right questions to get an honest assessment from our clients. According to the solution-focused model, therapy clients and patients are often referred to as customers who seek help with complaints. This approach may thus be helpful as we look at how to best understand the effect of counseling work at strategic points of the therapy process. So if our aim is to receive effective feedback, what's the best place to start? First and foremost, it's important to realize that there is a power differential between the therapist and client. One is considered the expert and thus has power over the other. So if I'm the therapist and at the end of the session I ask, "How did you like the session?" odds are that the client will answer, "Fine," or "No problem," which may not yield the information I really need to hear. The challenge is that, like most people, therapists want to hear positive feedback for their work, but to really help their clients, asking for honest feedback can help fine-tune the counseling process in a more effective way. Let's watch a clip from the end of the first meeting between Matthew, the therapist, and the client or customer, Danielle. He asks her to discuss her thoughts about the end of the session and then uses scaling questions to get a better sense of what worked and what didn't work.
So in closing, I wanted to get your thoughts about today's session.
Not bad. I feel pretty good about it.
All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? With 1 being not very helpful and 10 just being extremely helpful.
Maybe a 6.
Okay. Say more about that.
To be honest, I was hoping for more, but I'm not really sure what that would be.
All right. Let's look a little closely at that. For this session to have been an 8, what would have needed to happen?
I'd be feeling more confident already. I guess I didn't think I'd be getting any homework.
Is it too much homework?
No.
Okay, so it looks like you had some pretty high expectations for today's therapy session. And even though things fell a little bit short today, your high expectations may actually be a good thing. For next session, maybe you can actually use those high expectations in your favor. How do you think that would look like?
I think I can handle it.
Many therapists may have stopped after Danielle indicated that the session was fine. However, Matthew was willing to probe a little deeper, and by doing so, he found that the session didn't quite meet her expectations. By leaning into this process, instead of approaching it superficially, he opened the door to more authentic feedback from Danielle to help him meet her expectations in future sessions. Now, let's look at some questions that Matthew might ask Danielle in later meetings. Did you notice any changes over the past week? Discuss both positive and negative changes you saw. On a scale from 1 to 10, how helpful was the homework assignment? What was most helpful about it? And what didn't work? What part of our session together stood out for you? What would you like to see more of and less of? Are there any topics we missed or need to discuss further? You gave our first session a 6 out of 10. Would you rate our current session the same, higher, or lower than that one? On a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate my effectiveness at helping you achieve your goals for therapy? These are just some of the questions for Matthew to consider. Now, think of any others that might ensure successful outcomes in Matthew and Danielle's counseling relationship.